what matters and in what order to do them first. It knows she needs to work on a new prospect called John. It knows she needs to build out a savings model for a client, Cargo Loop, and that the quantum deal is stuck on some paperwork. This isn't her entire to-do list that she has to scroll through, and she didn't have to spend hours manually adding these tasks. All of these tasks were added by Sentia automatically from calls and meetings she was in, from emails it read that she received. It picked up that she'd promised these actions, or it decided these actions were needed, and it created them all by itself. Sentia Plus builds this plan for her dynamically before she starts work, and she can update it on demand at any time throughout the day. Just ask what's next. No manual recording of tasks, no data entry, no analyzing meeting notes or transcripts. And as I said, anytime she wants to update the list, she just says what's next. Now, because Sentia Plus knows that Jane, like every rep, always needs to be selling, it's prioritized the task for her to spend time on prospecting. That's the second piece I'm going to show you today. But watch how fast that gets done now. One of Jane's clients referred her to a new lead, John Matthias, at a company called Jenner & Block. Normally now, Jane would jump to LinkedIn, then Zoom info, look up this John, maybe look for his company, copy paste it into a CRM or a spreadsheet if we're lucky, or maybe even a notebook. Instead, let's just ask Sentia. The microphone back on, add John Matthias. Sorry. Sentia now goes looking using fuzzy logic for which John Matthias Jane may need. Okay, I'll confirm this is the one that she was targeting because it's the same company, and I'm just going to quickly select add. Now, Sentia doesn't simply add a name to its database. It's doing the work that a great analyst would have done for me if I had my own personal analyst. It collects as much information on John as it can find on the internet, his social media and LinkedIn, and it builds out a record page on John and then a detailed briefing specifically for Jane about this lead. Let me run through it with you. When it creates a brief here, it's not just a simple overview. Firstly, it's created a priority score for the new lead. Here it's giving John an 85 when compared to Jane's other leads and contacts. It lets her know that John is definitely worth pursuing. It's classifying John's buyer type. It's saying he's a strategic influencer here. It writes me a profile summary here. So this is based on his social media, it's giving me signals that may resonate with this lead, John. It identifies likely priorities John may have that Jane can refer to. There's a whole lot more and a lot more below. If I scroll up here, with one click, I can grab confirmed phone and email details. I can also ask Sentia to look for other decision makers in his firm. No CRM, no Zoom info, no personal analyst, just Sentia. I can ask Sentia for advice, strategies, background, next actions, whatever. It responds now having a detailed background on John in its database, and it's ready to go to answer whatever I may want to know. So Jane is often running with this new lead, took maybe 90 seconds maximum to know as much as she needs about him. So next, prospect research. I promised to take a look at how Sentia takes away the pain of researching leads. Gartner reports that research on new leads, if it's done properly, can take up to 15% of a salesperson's time during their week. Evaluating a new lead often requires someone like Jane to do a major deep dive piece on the business. John's a partner at Jenner & Block, so Jane wants to take a detailed look at it. Well, actually, let's not get Jane to do the work. Let's ask Sentia Plus to do the work. So on the main page, I'm simply going to say, give me some detail on Jenner & Block. Because I'm speaking on the webinar, I would normally use my microphone, but in this case, I'll copy paste. So, okay. Again, Sentia's off to do the work. It now heads out into the internet and other sources. It's going to look at news, background, company reports, LinkedIn, social media, and more. Again, Sentia knows Jane, what she does. So when it responds to questions like this, it has the context needed to give her a useful response. The response I would receive compared to Jane would be very different in the context of me and my needs as CEO at Sentia. We're pursuing a different ICP. So It's given me some background here. I could drill down with some follow-up questions, but I kind of need more detail here. It's a large business. I'm going to ask Sentia to go a little deeper. So what I'm going to do is close that, click on Ask, and open up a mission. I'm going to ask it to run a mission for me and provide a deep analysis on this company. So what Sentia now is doing is not just a simple search like earlier. It's carrying out a full strategic analysis on this business. There are many pre-configured missions in Sentia Plus already, and we add more every day. You can also build your own quickly and easily, and Sentia Plus helps you build them out. It's looking much deeper than into public sources, company information, market signals, and more, hiring activity, competitors, anything else it can find to help build a useful analysis of this business. The important point is this is the work a human would have to normally do manually before an important sales call, a meeting, an account review, or an outreach campaign. They would do all of this and then try and pull that together into something useful. Sentia Plus does that for Jane in a mission. It does not just return links. It tries to understand what matters, who's this company, what do they do, and then it turns that research into something actionable. So the user's not left with another pile of information to interpret. That's the difference. If I scroll down a little bit, you'll see what I mean. It's a very extensive analysis. This is the difference between software and an operator, and between agentic AI and an operator. Software gives you places to search. Sentia does the research, connects the dots, and brings back the insights you need to act. All of this is saved forever and can always be queried and dug into. Also, I could just ask Sentia for more information. Okay, next, a universal inbox. To misquote one of my favorite movies, one inbox to rule them all. Not sure about you, but before we were able to have our own internal Sentia Plus system here, we lived in inbox hell. The reality for all of us, we get messages and communications from all over the place. Messages in email, replies on LinkedIn, maybe it came into Sales Navigator inbox or the plain one. I get texts, WhatsApp, I get Telegram from some clients, Microsoft Teams, Slack, Instagram, work chat, who knows. Sentia Plus unifies it all in one inbox. And when every single one of these messages come in, Sentia Plus is on it immediately, digesting them, auto-attaching them to your contacts and leads, auto-creating new leads, contacts, or companies if it needs to, importing events in your calendar, no more data entry, nothing manual. Let me show you. So the first tab here shows all communications in a timeline. Below that, emails, LinkedIn, Microsoft Teams, Slack, WhatsApp, whatever your company uses. If I jump to an email, let's say Olivia's here on the demo system, it looks like a positive response. So I want to acknowledge that with a simple word or two back to her, and Sentia will draft this up in my voice. Remember, it has available all of my message history with this person and the company, her company, and what's going on with this project. So I can say, let's just say acknowledge. And I don't want it to write, just acknowledge, so expand on that. So Sentia Plus will draft up a suitable email back. I'm glad Derek's initial reaction was encouraging on the payback. I want to make sure we have everything. So it's an intelligent reply based on everything it knows about me and my business and this project. It will auto-reply to LinkedIn messages the same way. It can send on LinkedIn. It will auto-reply to emails. It sends as an email. I never switch apps. Every message is automatically now on that contact's timeline as well as related contacts. That's 2, 3, 4 tools replaced, and any busy work of logging it is gone. So, John Matthias is a good start, but Jane needs to seriously business build, or Sentia will give her a friendly nudge again tomorrow. So this next piece is for all of you sales managers, directors, and COOs out there. Prospecting is always difficult. Sentia Plus does the hard work so the user doesn't have to, the salesperson. They just convert. So instead of jumping between CRM, LinkedIn, Sales Navigator, spreadsheets, Zoom Info, Revenue Grid, or whatever, Sentia Plus brings the work into one selling workspace. At the top level, you can think of this page as a sales command center. We also have a similar page for service command center, finance, marketing, and the like. You choose where you want to start. Each tool is only one click away, either from this page or from the panel on the left. So first, we have a core workspace. This is where you can work your leads, contacts, companies, opportunities, and projects in one place. You can see the related records, capture notes, create tasks, track activity, and ask Sentia questions about what is happening with this lead or this project and what you should do next. Now, I promised lead generation. If you want to find new prospects here, open that back up. You can use lead search to search LinkedIn by keyword, job title, industry, location, pretty much anything, and then pull these prospects directly into Sentia Plus with just a click. So if I wanted to add James Reap there, I can click contact or lead or send a connect message from here. But selling today is not just about finding people by title. That would be way too easy. It's also about finding signals. So we have a LinkedIn post search. This is super powerful. It lets you search LinkedIn posts to find people talking about relevant topics, challenges, competitors, or projects, or buying signals. Sentia analyzes, and I'll show you here, exactly what each of these posts is about and advising you whether it's relevant to pursue and which to skip. I'll click on this one now. It can give you some insights, delivers the post, and then you can quickly generate a comment for this post and post from here if it makes sense for your business. There you go. Fast and easy. We next have a social search. There's a saved one here for law firms. I'll run that. It extends that idea beyond LinkedIn. Sentia can help you search public posts across places like Reddit, X, I almost said Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. So you can find conversations worth engaging with and turn these opportunities into leads as well. We have an advertiser search. This is designed, let me stick to the law theme today. I'll look for law interns. This is designed to help you spot companies that are actively hiring. Hiring can be a very strong signal that a business is growing, changing, investing, or facing a problem you may be able to solve. You can search LinkedIn jobs advertised by companies, see who's hiring, open roles for full details. And then your connections are all inside Sentia Plus. It lets you browse your first degree LinkedIn connections and decide what to do with them. You might want to add them as contacts here. You might want to assign them to a campaign. So, what's a campaign? Next up, we have a connection agent. This helps you grow your network in a more structured way. From any of the prior searches, you can create a list of leads, hundreds of leads if you like, and then ask Sentia to run a staged LinkedIn connection request campaign with tailored messages at scale. Sentia will draft the messages for you rather than doing everything manually one by one. It will send them out at a rate that doesn't trigger any issues with LinkedIn, and it's simple, it's one click and then forget. We also have a messaging agent here. So again, Sentia can craft your messages, create that list of leads or contacts, and then send out multi-stage messages, outreach messages on LinkedIn. Sentia will track who's been messaged, who's replied, who needs follow-up. Finally, we have social posting. You can have Sentia Plus write, schedule, and publish social posts so your outbound social presence and selling activity are all connected back into the same workspace. So the big point here is Sentia Plus is giving you one place to find prospects, understand signals, manage relationships, manage outreach, post content, and track opportunities. Perhaps run missions looking for brand new leads on automatic. You can grow your business and it will do the work. And that's the shift. So instead of logging into lots of different sales tools and trying to stitch that work together yourself, Sentia Plus gives you that workspace where tools are all connected. Our rep Jane is set. We have another 15 amazing pieces I would love to show you in Sentia Plus, but time's short, I know, especially since I was a few minutes late, forgive me. One more game changer I'll demonstrate today, just for the finance guys. Forecasts and pipeline. Okay, so let's see where Jane is sitting against her target. I'm going to ask it a question. Show me my pipeline. Sentia Plus open up. Let's see. I think our internet went down for a second. As I said, I've got power leads all over the place here trying to get the demo up in time. All right, there we go. It's back. My whole pipeline, as I said, every deal, every stage, every dollar. I apologize about that. It's not the software's fault, not Sentia Plus's fault. 14 open deals, just over 1.5 million in my pipeline for Jane, but total pipeline is a vanity number. The weighted figure here is what Sentia Plus believes is likely to actually land, and that's the one that Jane's manager cares about. Notice their difference. Hold that thought. I'm going to select Kanban view. I can now see at a glance where Jane is, given the Cloud 9 work Jane did yesterday. I think we can advance it a little now. Okay, drag it. So drag and drop pipeline, deal records, contacts. That's in most modern CRMs, I understand that. But your CRM doesn't record your calls, doesn't write your briefings, read your messages and emails, and doesn't tell you what to do next for each opportunity. I'm sorry, apparently I'm muted. Definitely got some technical challenges here. So can your CRM do this? Sentia is a forecasting giant. Forecasting, analytics, and an assistant that actually understands your book of business. Jane's carrying an annual number. I'm being told by someone privately here that I've got voice microphone problem. I might just take 1 minute to be sure.
On my end, David, it sounds like you're coming through loud and clear.
Okay, good. Thank you, David. Okay, so let me talk about forecasting. It's the final piece of the application I'm going to demonstrate for you. So Sentia Jane has an annual number that she's got to deliver, and like every rep, she spends Friday afternoons trying to guess which deals are going to deliver. Sentia turns that guesswork into a forecast she can defend, starting from a pipeline here. Her target, 660,000 for the remaining part of the year. Most likely is looking good. A big bold card. That's Sentia's best estimate of what she could deliver with a range under it. Hit probability is not just a gut feel. It's the odds from Sentia that she clears the 660. So she's looking good. Gap to target and surplus is how far short or ahead in dollars she is, and how much more qualified pipeline she needs to close the gap. Commit upside is her floor and ceiling. Coverage at risk is a pipeline coverage ratio, and how many dollars are sitting in high risk deals. 6 cards, Jane's entire forecast and year quantified and summarized in about 3 seconds on a click. But numbers don't tell you what to do. That's the next part. Each day, Sentia delivers an updated forecast summary detailing what it feels is likely to happen. Remember, it has all of her activity and all of her correspondence and communication and notes. So I can click the button to update that, and it will automatically update at any time with that click. It's now digesting every open deal, stage, the age of the deals, the activity that Jane's taken, the notes Jane's entered, writing the report in the same fashion as a world-class sales analyst. If the analyst had time to look at everything in her portfolio and all of her activity across all 14 deals. So she looks set to have a great year, but it doesn't stop at just analysis. It's actually giving her a to-do list to make sure she delivers this. For instance, close Lumen and Brightwave this week. They're her safest points. And Meridian's her biggest deal, her biggest risk. Gets stuck on a decision. So it's not a plan, it's a dashboard. So one click, emails this out to herself or to her manager to take a look at. And a what if. Answer CFO questions in real time. Every forecast conversation at C-suite usually ends with a hypothetical. What if Meridian slips to the next quarter? What if we pull Quantum forward? Normally, that takes a spreadsheet and an afternoon of work. In Sentia Plus, you can pressure test the number live in the room instead of promising to circle back. And if it wasn't so rosy, Sentia then gives you a recovery plan. Sentia doesn't just say you're short, it builds the recovery plan, the specific deals to accelerate, and then moves to close the gap. So I'm going to move that to here. The whole opportunity, the whole pipeline management and forecasting system is a shift from just storing a pipeline to actually driving the pipeline and delivering the forecast. And that's Sentia Plus. To wrap up today, I just want to restate this is a light skim across everything Sentia Plus can do for you. I apologize for the technical issues. I think I might have jinxed myself by putting the Bill Gates slide up. I've had numerous problems with power here today. So I want to stress I'm not here trying to sell you another software package. You do not need software. Sentia Plus is an autonomous AI operator that collaborates with its user, you. It stores your data or works with wherever that lives. If you have an enterprise software stack, call us. It can connect to that and use it and completely replace those 2 layers I mentioned at the start. You won't need the current software user interfaces anymore unless you love them, and you won't need your people to be human middleware anymore, more importantly. Sentia Plus is an autonomous operator that will do the work on the data and just tell you what you need to know, what you need to do. It's focused on you and your role, be it sales, finance, service, marketing, or C-suite. Let's run through what Jane did today without even leaving Sentia Plus in the last 30 minutes. She prospected and enriched a buying group. Sentia Plus indeed gave her all of the contacts there and created briefs for them, as well as a very detailed strategic analysis on the group. For Jane through the day, Sentia recorded, transcribed, and analyzed all of her meetings, phone calls, emails, and texts. It watched all of her leads and companies in real time and surfaced insights for her as it found them online. For her, it worked email, LinkedIn, MS Teams, and WhatsApp from one universal inbox. It raised tasks she needed to do from those messages, added incoming leads and contacts for her. Goodbye tab juggling. She managed a pipeline, she generated a fresh forecast, carried out sensitivity analysis on her forecast. And her AI operator that actually knew her did all of her planning and prioritizing for her specifically. That's not 10 or 15 tools in one tab. That's one tool instead of 15. That's one shared brain. The whole point isn't bundling and interconnecting. It's that when everything lives together, intelligence finally works. This is Sentia Plus. It's available today. We didn't even touch on so many more pieces: live call insights, inbuilt team chat, email marketing, finance, expenses, mapping, routing. It goes on and on. Book a call with us to discuss how it will change your business and can abolish software for you forever, either now or whenever your business is ready to do that. The link's in the chat. I know Dave's been popping it in there. Start your own day in Sentia Plus tomorrow morning if you wanted to. And you can always head to Sentia Plus, just that, Sentia.plus, to test drive the system. Let me quickly pull Dave back on the screen for a moment. Oh, you're on there, Dave. Any questions? What was
Oh, we've had some really good questions. Angela was asking about data security and how do you audit the system to ensure the quality of its performance remains trustworthy. So we talked about AI orchestration, but perhaps with Angela, you might be able to express it a little bit because I only had so much space to answer Angela's question.
We always get asked about data security. So our back end, we have 3 versions of Sentia Plus. One is the pro version for fractional team members, people who have a team of 1 themselves and work every day. We formally have a Teams version, which allows any number of team members to share data. There's a role hierarchy for sharing data. All of these systems are SOC 1 and 2 compliant. We actually have an enterprise version that can live inside your enterprise tech stack. So it basically inherits the risk, trust, compliance, and security provisions your company already has. So it's a case-by-case situation, but the back end is on the most secure database structure available. And for the enterprise version, we can build Sentia Plus to work with your current databases and tech stack. So it won't be you won't be lessening any of that. We use custom LLMs for every client, so you're not sharing commercial LLMs. And we've tried, as I said at the start of the presentation, we've been in enterprise software for 15 years. We're accustomed to dealing with those sorts of questions. So we're not a sort of vibe coded app that's been thrown together on a weekend. So reach out and we can reassure you. We've already got Fortune 500 clients. They're not quite on Sentia Plus, but a sort of earlier version of the product now. And we managed to jump through all of the hoops raised by corporate IT. Hopefully, Angela, that answered your question. Was that the only question, Dave, so far?
Oh, there's another good one. So Carl was asking, is there a time frame needed to enable Sentia Plus to work effectively with current software? So I believe what he's asking is, what is the implementation timeline for Sentia Plus for both small and larger organizations? And is there a discovery process, or how would that work?
Yeah. So if you did want one for your team or for your corporate, we would handle that onboarding for you. So it varies a little bit on individual backends on what corporate software you may have in your business. Typically 2 to 4 weeks, and we can get your whole team up and running in terms of the technical side of Sentia Plus. But we would never just do that to your organization. We handle onboarding. So we do a change management process. We'll start with discovery, do some change management with your corporate, and then roll out a staged plan so that your users are trained up and you get value from the package from day one. That whole process takes a little bit longer than just the technical connection piece. So I would say within 4 to 6 weeks for a larger organization, you can all be enjoying Sentia Plus, operating on your current data. So it wouldn't need to disrupt your business. And most importantly for IT, we do all the work. So me and my team do all the work for you. You don't have to do that. Hopefully, I think that answered the question.
I think the key there is you don't have to replace the other systems, you just make them better. Brigitte, who's a fractional CMO, had another great question. She's interested, as a fractional person, she has multiple clients and multiple projects that she's working on. How would Sentia help her address those challenges?
There's a couple of ways, and we've built Sentia Plus so it can be very flexible. On a simple level, you can tag any record in Sentia Plus with the name of a project or the name of a contract or an opportunity that you're pursuing. On a more detailed level, we have projects inside Sentia Plus. You can formally set projects up and set objectives. You can track time in Sentia Plus, so it will automatically log hours against projects. And within that project, attach contacts, leads, opportunities, notes, tasks, all of the activity you may be doing. So if it's kind of as Dave explained, it's probably the best way to do it would be to set projects up for each of those client projects, and it would track all of that activity in one place. And then you can ask Sentia at any point to where you're at with those projects, what needs to happen next. And of course, everything else I showed you at the record level, you can ask Sentia to operate on those. Hopefully that answered the question. I just have to say again, I was really thrown when 30 seconds before the start of the webinar, the power went off. So poor Dave was stuck here without a presenter. So I appreciate everyone's patience.
Yeah, so there was an early question. I believe a chap by name Michael Bremner had a question, but I don't see it in the comments. If you would be so kind to put that in there again, I'd be happy to ask you. During the first couple minutes, Dave, we had a question, and it was specifically to your sales representative, Jane. And what he wanted to know was, how does Sentia determine the priority for Jane? How does she know? How does the system know that Jane should work on this versus her overdue? And why does she spend more time on her favorite clients? And does that hurt her overall ability to meet her quota?
There's a couple of ways to answer that question. When you engage Sentia Plus, so when you subscribe, and the first few steps of setting up Sentia Plus, it runs you through some questions. So it asks you, what do you do? What's your company? What's your activities? What if you're in the sales role? What's your ideal customer profile? And you can always update that at any point in time. It then, in similar fashion to a neural network, it then starts storing information about you. So it gets better and better and better at writing as you and understanding what you do. And all of that is fed into every prompt that you ask it. So it gets really good at becoming suited to you within a fairly short time. So I think that's one factor that feeds into how it prioritizes your time. It also looks at things like what you spend your time on every day. So everything you're doing in Sentia Plus, it's learning from. So if you tend to focus on certain areas, it will suggest those as a higher priority. It will know if you put opportunities in there in sales and target figures, it knows that they should be prioritized. So it's a fairly organic prioritization. And then if you start ignoring the priorities that it's giving you, it will refactor them and look at what you actually focused your time on. So there's a learning process going on. That's kind of how it determines a priority. It's not the most overdue date, it's the most important. The other underlying logic we have on the priority scoring is based on some algorithms that we developed over the last 15 years as a business. Salespeople in particular tend to want to call on their larger clients, sometimes on a Friday afternoon, the clients that are near their home, if they're out in the field. They tend to make poor choices in terms of what should be priority. So what Sentia Plus does we've fed those algorithms in there. So what it tries to do is prioritize for you the ones that are going to move you forward towards your goals more effectively. So it takes away the kind of manual guessing of what I should do. If you're getting I always give this example in demos. If you're hitting the last couple of hours of the day, it's going to say, well, actually do this one and this one. Firstly, because there might be time to knock those over. And secondly, they're the most important things for you to do that day. Not unlike, I'm an Australian living in the Bay Area, but I think it was, Dave, you may know, it might have been Roosevelt, who had a urgent, important, not urgent, important, urgent, unimportant, and not urgent, not important sort of schema for doing everything every day. Sentia has that built in.
We had another great question, Dave. And it's talking about not so much software, not about AI. It's talking about the people part of the process. How do you see leadership changing or evolving? And what changes do you think that this type of new product would change for leaderships? And I guess in essence, he's looking for is how is Sentia Plus going to change leadership?
Every Sentia Plus system is for its individual user. So even if a corporate with 10,000 people engage us to build Sentia Plus for them, every one of those 10,000 has their own Sentia Plus, including leadership and managers. So if you're a manager of people, what your Sentia Plus system's doing is helping you do that role, do that task. It's doing a whole lot of things on the back end. For instance, we have, if people choose to or take it up, we have a really extensive team chat, team video calling replacement for Slack, WhatsApp, Teams, MS Teams. The Sentia Plus system monitors those meetings. They could be recorded. It's monitoring the recordings for behavior flags. So if you're a manager and you don't want salespeople to present your products in a certain way, or if you're in HR and you want to know if someone uses inappropriate language, your Sentia Plus system can monitor all that and tell you about it. So it is very much tailored for each individual person. So in terms of management, you're getting a clear view over what your team members are doing. There's a strict role hierarchy in the system. And you can drill into any particular team member and get 20/20 vision over all their activity. Sentia Plus can help you monitor that. It can highlight for you who may have learning needs requirements, training needs requirements. It will highlight for you who your better sales team members if you're in sales, or team members if you're not, based on things other than delivery of targets, which is a pretty poor determinant of priorities. I just saw a question pop up, Dave. I'm going to jump in on, do we use our own LLM version of Claude or ChatGPT?
I was just going to ask you, Dave. Thank you.
Yeah, you can use those commercial AIs. We don't. We use a technique called agent orchestration. So we have about 14 different LLMs on the back end doing different jobs that they're good at, and we don't kind of do the Claude ChatGPT thing.
I think the other part in this question to this, Dave, is if I have Slack, if I have Zoom, if I have Sales Navigator, if I have all these other different services, could I combine all those other things and do what Sentia does? So could I buy 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 different apps to do what Sentia is? And I think the answer is yes, but why would you spend all that money?
Yeah, so you can definitely now, and it's only been in the last few months, you can take ChatGPT, pay your subscription to ChatGPT. You can connect up all of the various software packages, most of them anyway, maybe not all, the software packages you're using every day to ChatGPT, and you can manually tell it what you want it to do. And it will go and draw the data from those software packages and then give you the answers you want or write the reports you want or the like. Sentia Plus does all of that The problem with the ChatGPT approach is you're paying for ChatGPT and for all those other software packages, which is a bit not much of a cost save. But there's a lot more that Sentia Plus does, which is behind the scenes. So ChatGPT doesn't autonomously watch your messaging for things coming in that you need to know about. You can do it with a Claude bot on your desktop computer, but let's face it, not many people are at that point out in the corporate world. So Sentia Plus does all that stuff that's automated and does it behind the scenes so you don't have to. You can definitely sign up for a ChatGPT or Claude and connect it to your software, but you're still using it as an agent. So you're still having to tell it what you want to do. Hopefully that answered the question.
And then how do you update it or make sure that it's actually functional across all those lines in addition to doing your normal day job? I mean, that's the challenge is, do you want to become a programmer of sorts, or do you want to
if
keep
you're an
doing your work? It's a
individual,
challenge.
you'll
Dave,
get
Angela asked, I'm sorry for Angela asked another really good question. How can you view and correct the system's understanding of your business or yourself? I think she's asking about, how do I set up my personal ICP so the Sentia Plus knows who I am, who my business is, and how to actually understand, is this a ICP target for me to go after? Thanks, Angela.
Yeah, in settings on under your profile picture, Jane's still on my screen. You can head into settings there and retrain it on any of those things at any time. And we change ours fairly regularly. So every single salesperson in my business has a different ICP. So we have one at the corporate level we push out with a click through all of the Sentia Plus systems. And then my team members, I know Dave's done this, my team members can individually tweak and change those things and change them again over time as their requirements change from the Sentia Plus responses. So you can always get in and update those things. There's a lot of visibility. The user interface belies what the sophistications is going on the back end. There's a lot of detail in settings we can have a look at, as I mentioned, that kind of self-memory, the neural network type feature. You can have a look at the facts it's stored. I give this example. My son's headed off to a college in New Jersey in 6 weeks. And a few months ago on my system, I asked about that college and asked the Sentia Plus some questions. And it came back last week, I added a new lead, and it threw in the response that, by the way, he went to the same college that my son's going to go to. And that was a few months later. So at the time, I'm like, ooh, that's really interesting. But it had decided that was something it should keep in case it needed to know that again. So you can see all of that information behind the scenes. What we've done with the user interface is tried to make it look as simple as possible. But there's a lot going on, and you can get to all those pieces with 2 clicks. Everything you can see in the system, you can get to with 2 clicks. It's our underlying principle.
We've had a lot of great questions, Dave, but we're running out of time.
Yes.
I have one more that I thought was another great question by Angela. And what she's talking about is, how do you overcome salespeople or marketing people or anybody in the organization that prioritize poorly? Sorry for that word slippage. So basically, how do they understand, basically this person isn't really good at planning and setting up their schedule? Can Sentia help overcome that, people that's not one of their things that they're really good at?
Well, it does a couple of things it does. Firstly, every morning around 5 a.m. local time for the user, it updates that what's next page, telling them what you should spend your day on. It does it again late in the day, and you can update it at any time on demand, as I showed with Jane, the demo user. It will start to nag you somewhat if you're ignoring overdue tasks that it thinks are important. So it's very polite, but it'd be like, this is the 3rd day in a row that you've ignored this overdue task, and it's getting more and more overdue. So it does help you along the way. As I said, it's a very smart prioritization package on the back end. It's not a simply, this is your to-do list, these are the most late tasks. So it kind of naturally you start to want to clear the thing. We also have some gamification. If you can see in the top of the screen I'm saving, there's a scorecard. And we all use this religiously internally, and you can turn it off if you don't want it. But it basically tracks what you're doing and how well you're doing, how much work Sentia is doing, what tasks you're doing on time and not time, and it gamifies it. So you can compare on a leaderboard to other people. That tends to encourage team members to knock over priorities as well. So shorter, if we were building it out for a corporate and they wanted to have a more structured prioritization process where we forced users to focus on certain priorities, we could do that. But even out of the box, it does a really good job of doing that.
So, Dave, can you tell me a little bit about the two versions? In a minute or two we left, we have Sentia Plus and they have Sentia Plus Teams. And how would they actually purchase these products after listening to your webinar today?
Yeah, so we force, because Sentia Plus is quite an unusual product, there's nothing like it out there at the moment in the world. We force anyone who wants to buy it, we force them to go to our website at sentia.plus and spin up a test drive. You've seen the demo now, so if you want to go straight to buy it from within the test drive, there's a button just says buy it. But if you haven't seen anything before and you want to explore the test drive from the website, you don't need credit card, you just click open a test drive. It's easy to get to, it's easy to see, and they can click from there and buy the product. Once they've bought it, they can buy either the Teams version or the Pro version. Pro for individuals, Teams version for multi seats. And if you buy the Pro version and you want to add team members later, it's all these clicks they're just 2 clicks, as I said, inside your admin panel in settings. So it's easy to start with the Pro version, add team members, buy the Teams version, all from within the test drive, Dave. For corporates, where we'll do the as I said, discovery, change management and the like, and build on their tech stack, there's a contact us button. So you'll get a form, fill it in, and one of us will be in touch.
We had another question. So for the Sentia Plus individual users, will there be any time to talk to people like yourself and get a better idea how to use the Sentia Plus system? Do you have like office hours or something?
We do. So there are office hours. At the moment, they're inside the app. But look, we have on that your Sentia.plus site, there's a contact us form, fill it in and we'll arrange a conversation. Everyone who signs up and buys a Sentia Plus system, the first button you'll see top right is book a onboarding call. So we'll walk you through setting it up, me and my team. But yeah, if you want to just have a conversation, then Sentia.plus, book a call with us, and one of us will share their screen, show you our system, and talk through what it can do for you. We've got a fairly high touch model. We want to make sure that everyone is happy. The product itself is very different. It does everything I promised and a lot more, but it's a different way of working. So you can go to a more conventional sort of software view within Sentia Plus if you want to. We encourage you not to. This way of working, what I demonstrated today, is very different and it's very effective and it makes you very productive. So all you need to do is basically follow along with what the system's telling you, and it will do all the hard work for you. So yeah.
Thank you, David.
Hopefully, and I appreciate the attention for you guys who stayed till the end, and I appreciate the questions especially. I apologize for the glitches along the way with power. If you saw the extension leads and the like going on here, you would all have a laugh. So thank you, and thanks, Dave, for the help and the support. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.